I'm just calling Özgür to check how it is going there, okay?
Yeah.
There's all the issue, so
Right.
no problems.
Perfect.
Perfect. We still have 1 minute more to run.
Right. It's all right.
If you don't have any drinks, you may have some drinks, and we can start Shiva, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It must be so early for you.
Yeah, it's only 6 o'clock, so it's fine.
So you get up at 6 o'clock.
Normally I get up by 4:35, so it's fine.
Oh, every day.
Yeah, every day, because that's the reason I do some work. Otherwise, I can't.
Why do you do this to yourself?
No, what do you call? I'm used to that. I don't know.
Oh, I asked Thomas to join us a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay." I told him that okay, I can arrange it in accordance with your program, but I don't want to urge you to get up early. And he said, "Oh, it's okay." So it was 7 in his time, but he started by 7.
Oh, okay.
And also some other people would join at some strange time. So it's strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's high time we start Shiva if you're ready.
Yeah. So if you can give me the control or whatever, yeah.
No, before I'll show my presentation.
Yeah.
Production section, and then we will move to your session. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just upload. Good morning, everyone. This is week 9 for Academic Integrity Policies PhD course at Çanakkale 18 Mart University. And today I'm very happy to host my colleague from INAI, Dr. Shiva Sivasubramaniam, at this course as our honorary guest. Today we will be talking about research integrity and ethical approval. And also we will try to see how we can incorporate ethics into teaching. I'd like to, before we move to our presentation, I'd like to highlight some essential topics that today we will be dealing with here, along with Shiva. First, we'd like to clarify the relationship or the differences, if there are any, between academic integrity and research integrity. And I'd like to highlight some essential terminologies that will guide us throughout the session and question a few things, including the impact of scandals, for example, on the development of research integrity or academic integrity, and later Shiva will continue with steps involved in research, responsible conduct, especially responsible conduct in research. This is a very important terminology that we'll be dealing with. And then with the guidance of this session, finally, we will see how we can incorporate ethics in teaching, and then we will have concluding remarks along with your questions. We are planning to have a question-answer session at the end of the session. However, if there are any urgent issues, please don't hesitate to ask your questions. For us from YouTube, please, you're also more than welcome to ask your questions from YouTube. I'd like to thank to Özgür Çelik for moderating YouTube session, and he will be informing us about the questions that we are receiving from YouTube as well. Okay, then I am moving to the introduction section of my colleague. Dr. Shiva has been working for the University of Derby, I guess, for the last 2 years. Is this true, Shiva?
Yeah, 3 years, yeah.
For the last 3 years. Previously, he was working for the Nottingham Trent University. I guess he worked there for about 23 years or something like this.
Yeah.
So he has quite a lot of experience at the universities in the UK. He is the head of biomedical forensic science at a school, and he's leading a wonderful research team there. They are focusing on research-informed teaching. Within this perspective, he is developing student-focused curricula with a specific emphasis to enhance graduate employability. The main focus of this activity is, by the help of active learning strategies and internationalization, pedagogic development, and consistency activities, he would like to provide some new opportunities for his students. He is one of the founding members of the European Network for Academic Integrity, and he is also cooperating with anti-plagiarism activities. I'd like to remind you that Dr. Shiva is heading a working group under European Network for Academic Integrity called Ethical Advisory Group. The main purpose of the group is providing unbiased advice and consultancy on embedding ethical principles within all types of academic research and public engagement activities, and also standardizing ethical norms and offer strategic support. Within this perspective, under this working group, they are trying to develop institutional ethical committees. They try to determine the needs of ethical approval for research, teaching, and public engagement activities, in addition to some other issues related to ethical advisory, ethical advision, and also ethical approval. If you would be interested, you are more than welcome to join the group. If you're interested, please contact Dr. Shiva and introduce yourself to him to join this working group. So, before I leave the stage to Shiva, I'd like to question a few things in order to prepare ourselves for today's discussion. Previously, as you already remember, we talk about academic integrity, and especially we talk a lot about the fundamental values of academic integrity, identified 6 fundamental values that are coming from that are introduced by International Center for Academic Integrity. Now, my question to you, how would you perceive the interaction between academic integrity and research integrity? Which one would you consider as an umbrella term? Do you think academic integrity covers research integrity, as a subcomponent or just vice versa. Research integrity covers academic integrity as a subcomponent. Especially, this is a question for my students. What do you think, please? Hatice.
Good morning, Hocam. Good morning, Shiva. I think academic integrity is the umbrella term here because it covers all aspects and all kinds of relationships within the academia. But because most research, I can say, is conducted within the academic settings, I can say that academic integrity is a more comprehensive, so it's the umbrella term, I think.
Okay, thank you, Hatice. It seems that we are achieving our aim. As the proponents of academic integrity, we believe this. Academic integrity covers research integrity. However, there are some other proponents of research integrity who might be thinking in just the opposite way. I mean, there might be some scholars who might be considering research integrity as the umbrella term, especially those who are specifically interested in research. But however, the advance in academic integrity research, we believe that it is the umbrella term, and we cover research, publication, and all the other academic issues as the subcomponents here. Okay, I'm moving forward here. You see a quote that I borrowed here. This is a quote from Tracy's Handbook of Academic Integrity, and indicating research integrity and how research integrity found its place, especially at European academia, with specific reference to Australia sample here. And from this quote, we can understand that research integrity, especially, is a terminology mainly related to the academia of United States. However, of course, their impact for the rest of the world has created some other opportunities for this terminology to be adopted by the other communities, by the other academia. And it seems that commissions for good scientific practice and research integrity are the two terminologies widely used at European academies as interchangeable within this practice. What about the other essential related terminologies? Now, I'm going to refer to the glossary that we prepared under European Network for Academic Integrity, and the three terminologies, I guess these are important. One, ethics committee. The second one, research integrity, as we already acknowledged, and research misconduct. What do we mean by ethics committee? If you'd like to conduct research, especially which includes human as subject, then it doesn't matter what your field is. It means that you need to grant permission in order to conduct your study. And ethics committee is the body which grants ethical approval for research and also considers breaches in research conduct. Okay, secondly, what about research integrity? As we previously mentioned, as European Network for Academic Integrity, we consider research integrity and scientific integrity as interchangeable terminologies. And by research integrity, we refer to compliance with ethical and professional principles, standards, and practices by individuals or institutions in research. It doesn't matter whether we are talking about institutional policies regulating the situation there or the values of individuals, but it covers both individuals and institutional values. When it comes to misconduct, research misconduct, this time we are talking about unacceptable or improper behavior in any part of research. It doesn't matter where it occurs, but today in his session, especially Shiva will question this, especially where we need to give privilege, to give importance to ethical considerations in our research. Okay, here are some important questions. I'm sure Shiva will be dealing with these questions. We'll try to answer these questions. Again, I'm borrowing a quote from Handbook of Academic Integrity. What do we say here? Even the USA, which has been focused on the question of responsible conduct of research for approximately 35 years, still struggles with fundamental questions such as, what are these questions? Why does research misconduct occur? Is education useful? How should we assess the impact of our efforts? So, we are talking about in this call, we are talking about the USA and approximately 35 years. So considering the book was published in 2016, so we can say that roughly 4 decades. We are talking about 4 decades, and they are still having problems related to research integrity. And we complain that in Turkey, for example, okay, there is a lot missing regarding research integrity in Turkey, but we should acknowledge that this is not a unique problem only for our country. This is a global problem, of course. In some parts of the world, some countries might be experiencing it deeply, whereas some others trying to control this by the help of some regulations. However, this is a global common problem anyway, and especially in Shiva's session, we will try to see whether it would make sense to deal with pedagogical purposes here. And the other important thing, scandals. What about the scandals? Sometimes on our media in Turkey, we hear some scandals. This is not only valid for our country again. Any country suffers from these scandals. But here's an important thing. How do we consider scandals? Do we consider them as a step to improve our regulations, or do we consider them something bad, providing bad models to the other people? Before we move to next section, I leave the word for Shiva. Again, I'd like to question the understanding of my students here. How would you consider the impact of scandals on the development of research integrity or on the development of academic integrity? Yes, please. Hatice?
Well, I'll answer again. And well, what I thought as I read the related chapters of the book, I think these only would create some sense of fear for those who have this kind of tendency for academic misconduct. And I think it would also raise awareness for those who really are not aware of what should be done, how research should be conducted also. So maybe those who have the tendency might have the fear, so they avoid being involved in academic misconduct. And also those who are not really aware what research integrity is, it can raise some awareness so that they can be more careful, I think. That would have some kind of impact. That's what I thought as I read the chapters.
Thank you, Hatice. So, on one hand, this might be providing some awareness to discourage the others not to act in this way. Of course, there should be some fear for the others who do this on purpose. Remember when we were talking about plagiarism, for example, we discriminated accidental plagiarism from intentional plagiarism. If there is intentional plagiarism, of course, we might be talking about some fear as well. Yes, Miranda, please.
Yes, while on one hand, this might prevent this might prevent academic misconduct. I think that on the other hand, there will still be the ones who will look up to the examples of scandals and perhaps, you know, take it as a lesson to pursue an even more elaborate, you know, academic misconduct, a more professional academic misconduct, and learn from those mistakes of the scandals. So even though this would be the minority, I still believe that it's a two-ended learning scenario.
Okay, so if there is a lesson learned, then probably it would contribute to the society. Now, I'll be suggesting a web page here. This web page is also suggested by European Network for Academic Integrity. This is the online learning tool for research integrity and image processing. I already shared the link here. If you visit this web page, you will see some related scenarios, and you will see some sample misconduct cases and sample sections related to this. So it would give you some idea about research integrity by dealing with some cases and sanctions. Now, I will once more refer to Handbook of Academic Integrity, and here another quote, this time coming from Australia and the Netherlands. It says that both countries have experienced scandals and have ended up with courts, investigatory committees, and national research integrity committees. So we see that we are witnessing scandals anywhere on earth. However, the important thing is, how do we react? If we just discard them, or if we just encourage them or discourage them. So again, we will be referring to our policies, our national academic integrity policies, institutional academic integrity policies. Remember, we already talked about three different functions of policies. One, trying to detect academic misconduct. Second type of policies will be trying to react, how to regulate sanctions, and the third type will be preventive or proactive, which means that using pedagogy in order to prevent academic misconduct, in order to promote academic integrity. And in today's session, we will especially focus on pedagogical aspect. Here are some good conduct of research principles that are coming from these countries, from Dutch universities in this case. And these are the results of the previous scandals. And today, in his lecture, Shiva will explain, in addition to some other terminologies, will explain these principles to us. I will introduce another web page here. This is the web page for all European academies, and they in Code of Conduct for Research Integrity in 2017. And I'd like to inform you that Turkish Academy of Sciences is also an associate member of this organization. So it's good to know that a governmental body is being listed there as a member because they will be regulating some principles, some research principles. When you check their code of conduct for research integrity, you will see that first they are introducing principles of research integrity. These principles are quite similar to academic integrity principles. Shiva will already mention them, introduce them. And then they provide some ideas about good research practices. And then they refer to violations of research integrity. And then, of course, how these violations are associated with sanctions. They're also providing some samples about this. So the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity seems to be a good guidelines in order to shape our understanding. When it comes to Turkey, Council of Higher Education, our Council of Higher Education also published some guidelines related to scientific research and publication ethics. I shared the link here. Unfortunately, it's completely in Turkish for those who cannot speak Turkish. But let me give you some basic impression about the ethical guidelines that they shared. We said that policies mainly have three different approaches. So I see that our Council of Higher Education's guidelines have either deductive and reactive approaches in the policy. But when it comes to prevention, I guess we need some improvement to become more proactive or to include some pedagogical issues. We will need some improvements. Of course, it's providing some standardization when it comes to detection or reaction to control the sanctions, but I guess we need some improvements for prevention. Another important issue, especially for this course, I'm encouraging my students to submit papers to journals. And for those who will be submitting journals that are published in Turkey, I'd like to inform you that Dergi Park, which is a platform providing online hosting services and editorial workflow management system for the academic journals that are published in Turkey. So this is a platform, and this platform is a service provided by the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. Under this research council, we have another center, which is Turkish Academic Network and Information Center. So again, this is a governmental body, and they don't have any regulation for any journal that are using Dergi Park platform. They are asking for ethical approvals for any study. Of course, by any study, I'm referring to any study which includes human as subject, or maybe Shiva will refer to some other important issues related to, especially when it comes to medical research, how we differentiate medical research from the other types of research here. So this regulation is important. Then when we need ethical approval, Shiva will also refer to this. Here are some references, and I'd like to thank you all once again for being here. Now, I am very happy to leave the stage to my colleague, Shiva. Hi, Shiva, welcome again. Meanwhile, I'll be uploading your presentation here and then leave the control to you. Shiva, you hear me?
Yeah, I was on mute because I was coughing, so I don't want to disturb you.
Okay, I'm uploading your presentation.
Sure.
It will be there in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, it's there. You can take the control, Shiva.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me move this. Oh, it's gone for some reason. Hold on. Yeah, it's coming. Sorry. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Hope you all okay. And so this presentation, before I start, I need to explain how I'm going to put forward this presentation. I won't call it as a presentation, maybe a discussion with you, because you're all researchers. So this is about the research integrity and ethical approval. That's the first part. And so the second part, then when I thought, because I worked with Salim for a long time, and then I know that most of his research as well as teaching revolves around teachers and English language teachers especially, or teaching assistants and the researchers who are involved in educational research. So probably from the heading you would know that my background is biomedical science or forensic science. So I thought rather than me talking about my own science and the research integrity and ethical approval within the my context, I thought, what's the point me talking about my area rather than focusing on your area? Because if anything, I wanted my presentation to be useful to you rather than me. So I more or less focused on the educational side of research integrity and ethical approval. And also then I thought, okay, if you wanted how to incorporate ethics in the secondary school teaching, then let me explain something as well. So let us start. So the question I wanted to ask you is, what is research? The answer is given there anyway, because I don't know, right until this morning, I don't know whether how interactive this presentation would be because of the online presentation. But now I know that there are some ways to interact because some of you have interacted with Salim. So yeah, I mean, the answer, if you ask me what is research, I mean, I always quote the Einstein quote about, if we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? That is his own statement. So to be honest, when we start, we've got a question. See, we got a research question in our mind, either in educational research or medical research. If I do this, what are the effects, whether it is good or whether it is bad? But the problem we do not know is we don't know anything about that subject. That's the way we started. But as we go along, we learn more and more about the research, and you spend about 3 to 4 years doing that research, and at the end you become an expert in that particular area. So you start with nothing and end with everything. That is research. So this is, again, it's not new to you. You all know by this time, if any kind of research, you start with the research question, and then you need to review the literature to see whether the validity of the question still exists. So for example, if you got a question that if I teach a problem-based learning in the secondary school, what are the effects? But if you read the literature review and then found out there are so many publications before that, then you might ask the question, so what's the point me doing the research, because it's already been thoroughly researched? Or you can find an area, yes, it has been published a lot, but this particular area has not been studied. For example, use of YouTube video as a problem-based learning. That has not been, you might see, oh, that is not properly researched, so therefore I can do it. So the review of the literature is not only important for you to make sure that whether your research question is right or whether the research question worth pursuing, then it's also help you to base your research question and do the research properly. So this is important. The literature review part is important. I will come back to this, how you are going to do from the start to finish of your project. Then once you have done that, you are clear now, yes, I got a solid research question, and that area has not been investigated before, but now how am I going to do it? So that is what I call it operationalization. That means you put into practice, you do the research, do the questionnaire-based research or laboratory-based research. It differs from discipline to discipline or involving students. And each of these research, they do have ethical constraint. Whatever you do within your life has got ethics. We'll come to that in a minute. Then you will, while you are doing the research, you will get the data collection, and the data collection itself is implicated by the research ethics, because there are certain ways only you can collect those data. And then you do the analysis, and then after that you publish, you go for the viva, defend your thesis, so on and so forth. We will come to that again a bit later. So again, this is what, when I started my research a very long time ago, just after the dinosaurs have vanished, my research supervisor told me that research is not a 9-to-5 job. But you know what? In some way, I agree with her. She retired, but I still agree with her, because it's your own time. You need to work according to your own time, as long as your aims are produced. I mean, good example was me who did the project on a human placenta. I work with human placenta. But because I'm working with the human placenta, most of the human placenta arrives in the middle of the night by 12 o'clock. So my research starts always 12 o'clock midnight and then finish by, say, 12 o'clock in the noon. And after that, I go to sleep. So it depends on your own research dimension and your own time management. And this is what you need to remember. At the beginning of your project, you know nothing, and your supervisor knows everything, or seems to know everything. And as you go along, when you start the project and you got 3 years to do the project, you read more, you research more, you get the results, you analyze the research, you beginning to learn. But my advice to you is, whatever you are learning, make sure that you learn with ethics. And that is the reason that I'm being here, or I'm delighted to be invited by my colleague, Dr. Salim Rasi, and to tell you my side of the story, what I wanted you to expect you to do as ethical researchers. At the end, this is another thing I wanted you to remember, that at the beginning, you know nothing, and the supervisor seems to know everything. But at the end, you know everything. Your supervisor doesn't know probably much of the things you have done, because you are the expert. Many of the supervisors won't like it, including myself, claiming that the PhD student of yours knows better than you. But that is the truth, because you spend 3 years of your life researching in this particular topic you have taken. So at the end of the day, you should know better. We'll come to that later. So let us move on to what is research integrity. So rather than writing what I call loads of sentences, I always prefer using photographs. And then this photograph, I actually got it from the University of South Wales in Australia. So it's not my my photograph. So I start with honesty. The research integrity start with honesty. You should be honest to yourself. That's the main thing. I mean, I don't want anybody to think that honesty means is the external factor. I need to be honest with my wife. I need to be honest with my supervisor. No, you need to be honest to yourself. I mean, ethical behavior starts from you. I mean, that's what I always ask some of my students this question, probably I will ask you as well. How many of you go to the toilet, do your business, and then probably urinate it, and then wash your hands when nobody is there in the toilet? Many of you have, but I knew people, especially the males, if they are in a hurry, yeah, it's just urinal. They finish the urinal and they don't wash the hands, and then they just vanish. Why? Because there's nobody there, so you can get away with it. No, that is not honest. That is not ethical way. The ethics is the way you behave when nobody is watching. So that you should got to be ethics, and the honesty is the main part of the integrity of and the research integrity. Then you need to have an object, the objectivity. Whatever you are doing, it should be unbiased. And if there is any professional conflict, then tell them. You know, for example, if you are doing research, the effect of smoking on effective teaching, but that research is funded by a cigarette company, then you need to become clean in your hand and then tell everyone this is funded by research, cigarette company. If you ask me, I wouldn't even dare using that kind of research funded by a company that is going to get advantage of that. So that is the objectivity. You need to be clear, because if your research, if for some time it proves that smoking is good, then it's biased because it is funded by the cigarette company. So you more or less there's a conflict of interest. And those of you, I know that who are going to do research in involving questionnaire, you will involve human subjects. So you need to maintain the confidentiality. At any one point, they should not be identified by anyone. Then accuracy of results, make sure that you report what you see rather than what you expect. So you might expect something fantastic, but you got results which is more or less opposite to what is rubbish. You just report that. As long as your research methodology is same, then you can explain that I did the methods properly, but this is the result. Therefore, my aim is more or less disproved. And there are responsible publication. I'm not going to go into further because I think I heard from Salim that there are so many other speakers have already talked about that. And accountability. Remember that your research, your responsibility. So if anything goes wrong, you need to put the hands up and then say, oh, this is me. That is called accountability. And respecting the intellectual property. IP stand for intellectual property. So if you are using somebody else's work, probably you would have seen how Dr. Salim Razi presented whenever he is using somebody else's work. He always repeatedly tells you that, oh, this is in quotation mark, is somebody else. I borrowed from that. So be clear, because we need to honor somebody else's work. And it should be properly mentored. That is what we are here, the supervisors. And it's all underpinned. All these are underpinned by the ethics. That's the most important thing. And also, the other thing is research safety is mainly for the laboratory research. You not only protect yourself from any harm, but also to make sure that the people who are working in the lab are not affected by your research. So that is research integrity. Before I go into research ethics, I'm going to ask you a question. In this scenario, so you do a research, the research is conducted, any research is conducted in an institution. That is conducted by a researcher, that is you or somebody. And most of the time, the research is funded. Therefore, there are some funding agencies involved. And at the end of the research, you will publish. Therefore, there will be some journals involved. And nowadays, most of the research especially in UK and USA, are governed by the governmental regulatory agencies. So they are involved. And finally, these sort of people are coming more and more and more into research. I call them whistleblowers. Whistleblowers are the ones who find fault in your research. I mean, they are not bad people. They are just upholding the research integrity and ethics. Yes, there will be one or two incidents of witch hunting, but most of them are actually proper scientists or proper researchers. They wanted to make sure that research ethics is maintained. So out of all these, who is responsible for research integrity in your research? So you are doing a research, all these agencies and individuals are involved, and who is responsible for your own research integrity? Anyone wanted to answer that? Hattis? I don't know whether I'm pronouncing
It's Hatice. But
Hatice.
I've heard that before, Hatis. Who's responsible here is the researchers, because all other parties rely on the researchers to be honest, and also the researchers are the ones who know anything about what's going on, data collection, analysis, reporting. They can only know what goes there truly. So all other parties are relying on researchers to be honest, actually. So I can say that it's primarily the researchers who is
responsible. Anybody disagree with Khadija or agree with her? I'm assuming. Oh, Miranda, sorry. Hello?
Hojam, you're unmuted.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute my camera. So I agree with Hatice. It is the researcher's primary responsibility to maintain research integrity. But sometimes there may be things that come out of the hand, obstacles that are not planned, and that may prevent, to maintain research and integrity. It can be due to lack of conditions, lack of awareness, but also, as you pointed out, even whistleblowers, could do to kind of have faults in that process. Yeah. But it's definitely primarily the researcher's responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that there is an agreement between you two. But also, I also appreciate the answer from the Miranda as well, because to be honest, if you ask me, Khadija's answer is the perfect answer. You are responsible. You are doing the research. Therefore, you are responsible for your own research. However, what Miranda said is right as well, because there are other agencies involved, and this is where the ethics comes in. If you do the research ethics properly, then situation like whistleblowers pointing out your research is wrong won't happen. But nowadays, these three organizations, the government agencies, journals, funding agency, and also the institution, they also have an eye on you. I mean, every time I do a research, every 6 months, I need to give a report about my research to my institution. Funding agency, every year or every 2 or 3 years, we need to give a report. Journal, when you contact them to publish, you need to be clear, and also government agencies as well. But as both of you said, the principal person who is responsible for research integrity is always you, the person who is doing the research. And again, I don't want to misspell your name. Whoever put the hand up.
Kubilay hocam, Kubilay.
Kubilay, yeah.
Hi, Doctor. And I just want to say that I agree with both of my friends, and I just want to add something else. Okay, so we are, as a researcher, the first responsible person, and for conducting the research in all parts. But also maybe as a secondary responsible person, we can say that our consultant teacher maybe could be responsible.
Yeah, your supervisor. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, my supervisor. Yeah.
Because I mean,
because he's or she's the one, you know, he's who leading the way or showing you how to do things and maybe support you in the process. So this is what I want to mention about.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, I mean, Kubilia, you have correctly pointed out even the one I forgotten to point out is the fact that most of the time that the supervisors trust you, but that doesn't mean that they should entirely trust you. But I have my own what you call research ethics that every month I normally have meeting with my students and the researchers to see how it is going. So that is my responsibility as well. But many of the medical researchers, they don't have time. So what they do is they completely trust the PhD students or the researchers to do the research, and then sometime it goes pear-shaped. And that's the reason this is another dimension which is not given in this diagram. Probably I will try to include it next time, that your supervisor may be also involved. So thanks for contributing that, Kuble, as well. So let's move on. So now we move on to the research ethics. So I should have told you right at the beginning, but depending on just for your understanding, whenever you see this diagram, share your thought or hold your thought means you can put the hands up and give the answer, or you can think about it and keep it. But in this case, because of the time and other things, and then most of you know the answer, I will carry on without giving that responsibility to you. So what is research? It's all about thinking what your research is. So research ethics means, first of all, you've got to think, what is my research? Who are the people who are going to involve? What are the methods I'm going to use? Are there any advantage or disadvantage of these people or these methods? Are there any dangerous things in the methods? Is any of my questionnaire, or so many of you will end up doing some projects, research in a questionnaire-based project, I hope. If you have a questionnaire, any of my questions are inquisitive or is going to hurt somebody. So that thinking about what is your research the research ethics starts with that, and how you research. And every step of your research, think about, is there any harmful effect of that research? And you think about what are you going to do with the research? That's another thing. But on the other hand, if you think about the best practices, first thing I want anybody to think about is the necessity. Is this research necessary? So for example, I'm just telling an example. I'm dead against it, but I'm giving an example on that. If you want to do a research, husband hitting a wife or something, is it necessary? Because the ethics itself is wrong. There shouldn't be anyone hitting anyone, not husband or the other way around. So there's no necessity for doing a research linked to that criteria. So think about whether the necessity is there. Think about transparency, how transparent you are. So whatever you do, anybody can read it and then repeat it. That's it, transparency. Then see whether it is fair. Fair means fair to the parties involved, the subject involved, so on and so forth. And also, most importantly, your research, whatever the research you do, whether it is education or whether it is science or whether it is medical science or forensics, most important thing is you got to think that at the end of the 3 year, it should be contributing something new to the research, to the publication, to the community, or to science. At the end of the 3 years, it is not, none of these are achieved, then what's the point doing the research? Think about this before you start the research. So thinking about all these before you start the research is called research ethics, simple as that. But just because Salim has asked me to use some terminology or for you to understand the terminology, so I'm going to use some terminology like the way I did it for the research conduct. So these are the ethics terminology. Integrity. Again, I don't have to tell you because you've been doing integrity work all over the thing. This is the thing. This word I heard, I hate a lot, because the moral and ethics, they are two different entities. But most of the time, if you Google it, the meaning of ethics, the definition always start with it's a moral of blah, blah, whatever. But as far as I am concerned, this is my personal view. Some researchers might dispute that. Moral, there are slight and subtle differences between the morals and the ethics. Morals are actually an inbuilt thing. So that means you have your own morals. So for example, many of us, or not many of us, most of us, our morals, stealing is a sin or stealing is not good. But there might be one or two people who might think stealing is fine because I don't have any money. Though the person from whom I am stealing has got loads of money, he's not going to be affected by me stealing about, say, 10 pounds. So I'm going to steal it. That is his moral. But as far as ethics is concerned, you should not steal. That is ethics, whoever it is. So ethics is, there is no anonymity in ethics. Moral, there are some ambiguous things there. Good example is, I'm always tell this example to everyone. Sorry, Salim, because you would have heard probably 1,000 times that in my country, my morals are, our morals, I am actually originally from Sri Lanka and settled in UK. So in my original country, Sri Lanka, our morals is if you see a penny or what you call in your, it's dollars, I think, I don't know, I forgot your currency. So if you see some money, even a 1 or 2 penny or there, you should not take it because that's a cursed money. Because somebody lost it, he would have cursed about it and worried about it. And if you took that money from the floor on the road, that is a curse for you. Never ever pick it up. But when I moved on to UK, their morals is if you see a penny, you need to pick it up because that is lucky penny. Can you see the difference of the moral? I'm not saying that my morals from my countries are better than the UK's moral. No, I'm not saying that. But these are two morals. I can change that. So because I am living in UK, if I don't pick that penny, the people will laugh at me. He's just ignoring the luck. But if I go to Sri Lanka, then they say, if I pick a penny, they will say, oh, he is more or less immoral person. So can you see, the moral can change, but ethics won't change. And ethics is external. So it is actually, in most countries are bound by law. So remember that. So that's the reason I put the morals and I wanted to explain a little bit. And you need to have a principles. You need to have honesty. Again, remember the first word, honesty, is linking with research ethics and also research integrity. Do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Be fair. Another common term between research integrity and ethics. Be responsible. But if you read everything from here, you might, if you go back my slide and have a look at it, there are some commonality between the research integrity and research ethics. In fact, if you look at it, that's what I wanted to stress, that the research ethics and research integrity almost intermingled. If you wanted to be a fantastically ethical research person, you need to intermingle both research integrity and research ethics. So let us pick up the commonality between this. So honesty is a common thing between research integrity and research ethics. Integrity, value, confidentiality, fairness, responsibility, so on and so forth. But if you look closely, the inner circle here on your left is the research ethics. The outer circle here, these are research integrity. So the respect for the person, beneficent, justice, concern for welfare, these are actually research ethics. But these research ethics are underpinning confidentiality, anonymity, privacy, informed consent. I will come to that in a minute. All these are research integrity, and the inner circle is research ethics. So if in my words or in my understanding, the research integrity is underpinned by research ethics. So we'll move on. And also another term I wanted, or another terminology I'm going to use, and again, if you want to understand more terminology, please visit the European Network of Academic Integrity website. We have produced a compendium of all the different terminology, and then their explanation is given there. It's a free website. We are doing it for all the researchers' benefit, so you can go and have a look at it. And then probably Salim by this time would have told you the link. So responsible conduct in research. I mean, doing research is one thing, being ethical is another thing, and doing research integrity is another thing. But if you mingle all three of them, then it comes the term responsible conduct in research, or responsible research conduct. That means, as I think Kuble said, that there are some what do you call it? Actually, sorry, it's Miranda said, there will be some incidences where things goes out of the control. Even if you do everything correctly, sometime it might go against you. But as far as you know, your conscience are clear, and you are doing the research in such a way, you are addressing the research ethics and research integrity. That is called responsible research conduct. That means you do everything you can to protect research integrity, you protect research ethics. And if things go pear-shaped, that's not your problem, because you got everything, every step of the way, you are focusing on the research integrity on one hand and the research ethics on the other hand. And the research ethics is about ethical principle of research behavior. And the research integrity is research behavior viewed from the perspective of professional standards. Because one of the things, I mean, I hate academics lying to each other, because it is the professional job. It is not any other job. It's a professional job that is inbuilt with integrity. So remember that as well. And when I say academic, that I am including you as well, because you are either already an academic teaching in a secondary school or university, or you will be an academic because you are doing the research in such a way to become an academic. So let me just go through quickly about the, I think my time is right. I think I can go another half an hour, I think. Where to apply ethics in research cycle. So let me explain what is research cycle. So first of all, you need to find funding, because nowadays in any part of the world, without money, you can't do anything. So find the funding, then you develop a proposal. And the proposal will be submitted to some of the funding committee, and also you need to take the ethics approval as well. Most of the time at this stage, if you are doing PhD, you don't have to do this. Salim or whoever the supervisor would have already done it for you. But when you become an independent researcher, you might have to start from the beginning. So probably as research PhD students, you can start up here. But that doesn't mean that you cannot start here. I know that there are certain students, they found their own funding, developed their own project, submitted for the ethics, got the ethics, set up the project. So after the halfway through, you come in, set up the project, manage the project, and close the project and publish. So out of this is what the research cycle. And then once you publish, you get fame, then you find another funding, goes on. This is what I am doing. This is what Salim is doing as well. But my question to you is, again, if you want to answer it, it's only 1 or 2 words answer. In this different parts of the research cycle, at which time point you need to think about research ethics? Whether you need to think about the research ethic when you are... Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I got to raise my hand. I think we need to apply ethics in every one of these parts.
Yes, I mean, you are spot on that, research integrity is in every step. You need to you need to abide by the research integrity. So every step of the project of a life cycle, life cycle of the research is dependent on research integrity and ethics. Remember that. So again, probably all other participants would have known the answer anyway. It's not a tricky question to discuss anyway. Right. So let us go through the research journey. Probably many of you I have a feeling if you started your project, I think you will be either here or here. That means either you would have finished the quality control or you start developing the research. Oh, by the way, can you see the cursor? The moving cursor?
No.
That's the reason. Okay, I will read it. So let us start from the man there, man with the bulb, lights on. So that means he got an idea. The man with the lights on, he got an idea. He can be a she as well. So I'm not a gender biased person. He is a man or female. But in this photograph, I only got the man there. So he got a question. He need to develop that question into an aim. When you develop the question into the aim, he need to do the literature review. That's my second slide. I explained that. So that is all about developing the research project, where to start. Then you need to get the quality, or we need to ask the question whether the research is pure research or a quality improvement. So for example, those of you, if you wanted to study research, how to increase the student engagement in longer hour teaching. So most of the time, probably by this time, you know that most of the students' attention span only lasts for 40 minutes. So in our university, I hate that system because we have 3-hour lectures. So that means after 40 minutes, students will switch off. They will work on the Facebook or something, or they just sleep there. So how we can motivate that? So you are going to do some quality improvement. It is still research, but it's not pure research, it's quality improvement. So you need to decide whether it's a research quality, research or research quality and improvement. Then once you decided that, then you got to go for the protocols. And that is where you think about, first and foremost, is think about your ethics. You need to submit the ethics and get the ethical approval. And every single researcher's nightmare is ethics. Because whenever you submit ethics, there will be a long process, a minimum of 1 month, or the maximum of, in my case, it took about 1.5 years. If you want, I can tell you why, because as I told you before, I work with human placenta. I collected some placenta for one particular study, and the study has finished, but I still got placenta left. So I wanted to start another study. So I went back to the local NHS hospital research committee. I said, rather than throwing away the placenta, I'm going to use it for another research. Then they said, no, you can't do that, because that research ethics you got was given only for doing that particular project. You cannot use the same placenta. Right, again, this is where I am going to put the morals. The morals is, I got placenta, it's human placenta, it's very precious. Rather than just throwing in the bin, that's what we need to do, or we got to destroy it, or we need to do it respectfully, whatever we are doing, because it's a human sample, which I'm happy to do it. But the problem is, the sample is there, it is viable because it's frozen. It's viable, we can do another research and then improve the health condition of the mothers. But instead of that, they are asking us to throw away. So that is not moral, that is immoral, because they're just wasting the sample, the precious sample. But what ethics says is, you do the research to the ethics from which you have taken. So in the ethics, I didn't say that I'm going to do the second research. So what I did was, I reapplied and then went through the process. It took about 1.5 years to explain and satisfy the research ethical committee that yes, this is not for any unnecessary work. It's a necessary work, and the patients are going to benefit something. Then only I got it. So the research ethics submission will take up to 1.5 years or more. This is my experience. But there are others, they have more delays as well. Once you do that, that's the reason most of the researchers, they hate ethics. The term ethics, they hate because of this ethical approval. So once you get the research ethical approval, remember, from that time onwards, it is under governance. That means whoever give you the ethical approval, you are responsible to report them any mishap of that research to that governance, that the ethical approval committee. Then you do the research. These are the fun part. Do the research, do the questionnaire, have the interviews, collect the data, analyze the data, and publish. We'll come to that publication later. Right, we'll move on. So this is, again, I think, because these slides are available, I wanted you to go through that. I'm just going to give you 2 examples. I'm not going to go the flow chart one by one, because it will take long time to explain everything, but it's self-explanatory, just follow the arrows. So because I knew that many of you are teachers or education kind of researchers, I know that in the people who are in the YouTube, there will be 1 or 2 medical professionals or scientists. So I got 2 or 3 different examples. So this example is for you guys who are doing educational research involving human participants. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, will your research involve participants? If it is yes, then follow this procedure. And if it is no, follow that procedure. But the problem is, you can see, this is one of the example. I took it from one of the UK universities. It might be slightly different from in Turkey. But here, if you have a participant who is less than 18 years old, that goes to a different ethical committee. To be honest, that is the longest time you will spend to get the ethical approval, because you are using students below 18 years. That means they are children. They are not an adult. So there are procedures for that in UK. I think this same will be true in Turkey as well, in UK, that you need to first of all get a police certificate that you can work with a participant under 18. And that's the most thing. You got to start that with that. And then police certificate will take a month because they need to go through the entire data files to see whether you have got any conviction against children. Then if it is no, that's easy. If it's the human participant is not involved, that's easy. Straight away, that goes to the straightforward ethics committee. But even if the question is no, sorry, even if the question is yes to the human participant, which is more than 18 years old, the next question you ask is whether they are vulnerable adults. Vulnerable adults means they cannot think properly or disabled. If they are vulnerable, then that goes to another. So these green, blue, yellow, and pink boxes are different ethical committees in one of our universities. It might be the same ethical committee in some other universities, but I'm not bothered about which ethical committees in your institution. That you need to find out. But the white boxes, you need to follow it properly. And I leave it you to, as a homework, you can go through that. Similarly, this is another example. If we are doing research on human subject, what I call it, or animal subject, animals, humans or animals, what I call it as invasive research. That means you are taking the blood sample or you are giving some drugs to study the effect of drugs, then follow this protocol. Again, I'm not going to go each and every step of it, but again, remember, first question is, does your study involve patients or human participants? If it is yes, follow this. If it is no, the next question is, does your study involve animals or human tissues? In my case, I use human tissue. And again, remember, animals, all the animals are protected as far as ethics is concerned. You need to justify. I'm not going to go into the medical research because many of you will be bored. But if you got to justify, there's no other way you can do this research without using this animal. If there are any other ways to do the research, then your research application will be rejected. So follow that project. And again, in this case, in the medical research, there are only two different ethical committees. One is the Human Biology Research Ethical Committee that involve human sciences or human and animal usage, and the non-invasive research if it is questionnaire. So for example, you are going to do some research with the clinical patients, but it's a questionnaire based, then you follow this protocol. Again, these are self-explanatory, so I'm going to skip it. And if you are doing a medical research, there are some additional problems. You need to do informed consent. But by the way, informed consent you need to do every time you use a human participant. Any research or even the questionnaire, you need to get an informed consent. Then if you are doing invasive research, you need to make sure that you are minimizing the risk of harm, and most importantly, protect the anonymity and confidentiality. You should not speak, identify, or anyone can identify you as human subject. So, I mean, as Salim already know this, that, at the moment I am leading the COVID-19 testing in my university. Yesterday, there's only one positive, but none of the researchers who did the positive test, including myself, know the person from where, the person who is positive, because everything is barcoded. So we just worked with the barcoding. So it's a barcode. We know that only thing we know is out of 750 tests we did yesterday, only one positive. And that positive person would have been informed by the internet system that they are positive. and they would have gone and then got the help. That's a different thing, but we don't know. So it should be that tight as well. Likewise, they have the right to withdraw any time of the research, and do not try to say, oh, if you take this drug, you will have wonderful things happening. Just tell the truth as well, and then make sure that they understood what the research is all about. So again, I'm just skipping through that because it is medical research. It's my area. I enjoy talking it, but I don't want you to be bored. Informed consent. Again, this one, it's mainly from medical research, but it will definitely useful for you because you are going to, I have a feeling at least one or two of you will use some human subject to get some questionnaire. So you need to explain each and every question. Actually, I spent some time making this slide for everyone's sake, that if you follow this question, then you can explain what is your research is all about. So first one is, what is the purpose of study? You need to explain each and every subject who has volunteered to do the research with you or the questionnaire with you. What is the purpose of the study? Why they have been chosen? So they might ask the question, oh, out of all people, why are you selecting me? You need to give that answer to them. What will happen if they take part? Will they get any money? Because some of the researchers, they give some money as well. Again, that's another ethics you need to think, that you should not say, for example, if you are studying the effect of alcohol, then you should not say, oh, you get alcohol free and you will get some money, so more and more people will come. That is not ethics. So remember that as well. You got to say the good things, and then you got to say that you will get the money, but if the alcohol has got harmful effect, what are the harmful effects, what are the addiction, everything need to explain that. What do they have to do? What are the things they need to do in your research? Be clear. What happens when the research stops? So what will happen for sudden reason? You lost your funding, you can't do any research, or you completed your research. Is there any other things following up, or you need to explain that as well? What if something goes wrong? That's, again, every single question here is important. You need to answer every single question. So if I were you, this is what I told my students, that put this question in bold in a A4 paper, or in a 2 or 3 A4 papers, and then give the answers, and then give that paper to the subject or volunteers to read it, sit next to them, and then make them read it. Some of them, don't say terms and conditions, click, let them actually read it. And then after they are reading it, you got to ask the question, have you understood these these information? Some of them, might ask some clarification, you got to clarify. Even if they say, yes, I have completely understood, we don't want anything else from you, you still need to explain further verbally about these things. Then there are other questions. What will happen to the results of the research of the study, whether this research of the study will be published or not? Hedije, you wanted to ask? Once I finish this slide, you can ask.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you ask me now. That's fine.
No, please complete.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask the question before this slide. Sorry, I don't want to disturb.
Okay, what we do is when we finish, we'll have a chat.
Actually, it was about the informed consent. When we work with human subjects, we need to inform them about everything that can or cannot happen. But what if something we cannot anticipate happens?
Yeah, that will be, again, that's what I say. What are the risks of the participant? So in the risk of the participant, the last question, then we will say that we will do everything we can. That's a very good question. Everything we can to stop any kind of harm to you. However, there might be possibility of this and that happening, or there are something goes wrong beyond our control, then these are the procedures. So as long as you explain that, as far as your consciences are right, as far as you know, as far as your ethics allows, then it's fine. And then you got a very good question, because something will go wrong. When only when you start doing the, I mean, even for good example, you know, even if you start cooking, only start, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like cooking. I don't know. Cooking is my hobby, but I don't know how many of you have experienced this. Sometimes you start cooking, and then in the middle of the cooking, only you realize, oh yeah, the salt has finished. Right? So these things might happen. So you need to tell them, you know, in a protective way, that we cannot anticipate. We have anticipated as much as we can the harmful effect, and we already mitigated that. But things might happen. If it is happened, then what are the mitigation we can have? You could explain that. I think I have answered that question, hopefully.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is again another guideline. This is again, remember, this, none of the universities you are working, when you apply for ethics, will ask you to do these flowcharts. These flowcharts are, I picked it up. It's not, they are not entirely mine. Some of them are, but not all of them. I picked up from every other universities to see how they are helping their students to think. So these are the protocol. They won't expect you to draw this protocol in your ethical application. But by going through this protocol, you can know how to address this. That's what I did. So if you wanted to take a decision, any decision, not only the research, any decision in your life, first of all, identify a problem. And then if you are doing research in a university, check the university's ethical code. Or if the main problem with that, if you are working in a school, many of the schools, they don't have ethical code of conduct, not all of them. So if it is not, then, sorry, if it is, you apply and make a decision. If it is not, then what are the other guidelines you can help it? Try to get any other. So, okay, I don't know anything about our school, but let us check whether there is any common rules regarding this. If it is there, then determine that dilemmas and then make a decision. And none of them are available, then you need to think about rationally, and you need to brainstorm with the help of your supervisor or some other people as well who are who can help you with ethics. That is where we come in for the European Network of Academic Integrity. We can be a critical reviewer and ask the right question. Okay, there's no ethics. This is my project. What are the good effects and the bad effects that might happen? Or what are the advantage and disadvantage that happen? Then we will ask those questions and then try to answer those questions. Then you will write the ethical practice. What I don't want to happen is this bit, the questionable research practice and the scientific misconduct. If you do this flow chart, although this is only for you, you will have the green bit here, gold standard research integrity. Your research data will be open. You got the version control. Everything is transparent. Everybody knows and everybody is happy. Then when you move, some of you might not know some of the researchers willfully move towards questionable research practice. I know that even now in scientific field and research field in medical sciences, there are so many questionable research practice, starting from p-hacking. I don't know whether you heard the term p-hacking. P-hacking is probably by this time, you know, whenever you do statistical analysis, especially in the quantitative research, there is a thing called p-value, whether it is statistically significant or not. So if the p-value is most of the time 0.005, that means whatever you have done, the intervention has got statistical significance. So it happened to one of my PhD students. What he did was he did about 3 or 4 repeats, actually 6 repeats, and then in the 6 repeats he found the p-value as 0.051. If it is 0.051, means it is not statistically significant. But he wanted it to be statistically significant because that is interesting. So what he did was he kept on repeating as many times as possible in such a way to remove that 0.0001. So it becomes 0.05. And then luckily I picked it up in my monthly meeting. That is what one of you said, that the supervisor, I think that Kuble said that supervisor should be should also be involved. This is a good example. And luckily I was involved, and then I said, no, you can't do that. You only use 3 repeats, and then whatever you see, you report it. And then sloppy statistic, and then you can, some of the researchers, they abuse peer review. For example, I never use Salim as a reviewer, and he never used me as a reviewer. Why? We have started collaborating as lecturers, professionals, then we become friends. Now we call each other bro. So that is not ethically correct for me to use Salim as to peer review to accept my publication or not. So we never do that. We are still friends, but we never do that. We publish together, but I won't ask Salim to review my paper and say whether it is worthy of publication. That is immoral, and he won't do that as well. Remember that as well. Inappropriate research design, you know, sometimes, because when you do research, I don't know whether you heard this term, especially if you do the quantitative research, there's a term called outliers. Outliers mean all the results are grouped together. 1 or 2 points are outside. They are outliers. So if you do about, say, 100 repeats or 100 different subjects, all the subjects results have got in the graph have got points. All the points are clustered as a 50%. But 2 of them is about far away from the cluster. Think about those 2. Why those 2 are always, every time I repeat, these 2 are always outliers. Why is that? You might end up saying that, oh, this is just outliers. It's more or less, no, nobody is perfect. 2 of them are more or less out of the normal realm, and then you can complete it. Most of the time that is the case. Sometimes the outliers will tell you a story, different story. So think about that as well. That is called appropriate research design. And then, so those are the questionable research. Then scientific misconduct, when you started fabrication of results, that means you don't do the research, but you write some numbers and do some photographs and graphs and then say publication. Falsifying the data and plagiarism. Again, I'm not going to waste my time on plagiarism because I am 100% sure you are Dr. Salim Razi's student and you know everything about plagiarism. That doesn't mean that you're not doing plagiarism. I don't know that. I'm just joking. Probably you are not doing anything, but you know all about plagiarism and how to prevent them. But we can discuss that later. And this is, pardon?
Sorry for the interruption, Shiva. Before we move forward, there were some key terminologies, and I'd like to remind once again to our audience that
that gave me some time to get some water. Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Under European Network for Academic Integrity, we already provided a glossary for academic integrity. So if you'd like to check what we mean by these terminologies, I already shared the link for the glossary. In addition to the glossary, again, under European Network for Academic Integrity, we provided guidelines for academic integrity. In these guidelines, you will see explanations related to the terminologies that appear in our glossary. So I will definitely kindly ask you to visit these two documents, both glossary and guidelines for academic integrity, in order to increase your familiarity with these terminologies. Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah. So sorry, Salim, because I did tell them to visit the ANI, but I didn't say the glossary. Yes, if you cannot understand the terms, I mean, all these terms given there in this circle, they are explained properly in the glossary in the European Network of Academic Integrity. I did tell you about the website, but I didn't say where to select it. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly, because we are running out of time, I think, I'm going to quickly go through the research stages. Project aim, so pre-project brainstorm stage. Then that means before you start your project, you need to think about the, we call it brainstorming stage. Then you do the project, that is called project investigation stage. Then publication stage, you will all do a publication. And then the thesis defense stage. So any kind of research, PhD research, involve all these things. Apart from the fact that if you are doing PhD by learning, it might be slightly different. But if you're doing PhD by research, these are the 4 steps. So every steps, pre-project training, planning, I call it planning stage, read about the subject area, read about the methods, and most importantly, read about is there any flaws in their methods. Then prepare for the ethical approval. You need to do power calculation. In order to get the statistical analysis, how many samples I need, how many questions I need to do, how many people I need to interview. Do a Gantt chart, how you are going to do the project. I'm going to start in January 2021, first 3 months, what I'm going to do, second 3 months, like that. The supervisor will help you, but prepare that. That will help you to move forward. And having a regular relationship with your supervisor, that means a working relationship with him or her, and ask questions, and that would definitely improve. But remember that this is not a joke. Also, you can take it as a joke as well. When you are doing a research with a supervisor, within the 3 years, there is at least 1 or 2 incidents where you yourself wish to kill him or kill her, and say vice versa. Why? Because there will be conflict. But in order to stop the conflict at the brainstorming stage, you need to do a good relationship with them, and then do the health and safety aspect of it as well before you start. These are all before you start the experiments. When you do the experiment, the investigation stage, and again, and I give this to research students, I call it laboratory, but in your case, it might be the investigation stage. So learn whatever you are doing, but learn the right way. Do not use any shortcut. Ask the question, challenge your laboratory guide. Laboratory guide means sometimes your supervisor, and the supervisor might have another person to look after you as a postdoc. Challenge why is that? Ask the question, why you are saying to me to do that? They should be able to answer that. Repeat. So make sure that you repeat the experiment, or look about the outliers, as I told you before, and look about the reproducibility and other variables. Avoid manipulation, selective usage, or stealing. And think about your own research integrity. Do not let others influence you. Even if your supervisor say, yeah, that is an outlier, just forget about it. You just use this data. No, ask the question back, why we are removing that. So think about that as well. Then again, because of the time, I'm going to go a bit faster. It's always better to publish before you submit the thesis. Good thing about that is if you submit the paper, you will get a reviewer's response. Even if it is rejected outrightly, they say, oh, this is a crappy paper, we cannot accept it for publication. They will give you why it is crap. Then from that feedback, you can improve, go back and improve your research. But if you have submitted the thesis, finish your project, and then think about publishing a paper, it is too late for you to go back and then check any mistakes. So that's what I always advise. If you can, please try to publish before the thesis submission. Publication, yes?
Sorry, Shiva. Once again, sorry for the interruption. Last week, we talked to Irene about predatory publishers. And it's quite important to receive feedback from the other people, especially seniors in the process.
Yeah.
However, we need to be careful about predatory publishers. I mean, it's a very good opportunity for students to present at conferences before they submit their thesis, or to publish any articles so that they already receive some criticism from the reviewers. However, it is quite important at this point to find reputable publishers and to avoid predatory publishers. Therefore, in order to identify or discriminate predatory publishers from reputable ones, I will kindly suggest for those who missed that session with Irene on predatory publishers, please visit this video. It is available on YouTube. It is quite important at this point, and we always encourage our students to publish before they defend their thesis to receive more feedback. Thank you.
So, Salim, before you go, how about our time? Time is okay, or am I?
It's from our side. It's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I carry on.
Alright.
Right. Okay. So when you go to the publication side, you need to report what you are seeing, not what you are thinking. So whatever that you see, you report it. Avoid plagiarism or recycling or salami slicing. Salami slicing means that you got a big data. You can publish as one paper, but you only use a part of it, one paper, another part of it, another paper, or mix and match and another paper. That is more or less you are cheating, using the same results in a different way. Avoid that as well. Be truthful. Do not manipulate anything. Do not selectively use the results, and do not steal. I know that in scientific research, even in my lab, I know that some student has stolen somebody else's data and tried to publish, but because my lab is controlled properly, we come to know that as well. Accept the flaws. I mean, remember that whatever I do, whatever you do, there are some flaws. We are not perfect people. And when you produce results, there might be some flaws. And like Salim said, that, you know, get the reviewers report and then get supervisors report, or somebody outside as long as your supervisor is happy and the ethics allows, somebody outside the organization but involved in the same research, get their review as well. And again, as Salim has correctly pointed out, you need to select, or you need to get help from supervisors or anybody else to find out the correct publication journals, because some of the journals are only there for money making and they don't have any scientific or any academic integrity or anything. You can even plagiarize and publish. All they want is money. And just by publishing in those journal, your reputation is daunted forever. So be careful about that as well. And probably those of you who were there with this Irene's presentation would have learned more. So now is the thesis defense stage. Again, that is the most haunting time of your life. That 3 hours or 4 hours is going to kill you. but you don't have to worry about that. Why? You are the expert, because you spend about 3 or 4 years of your time working on that, nothing but on that. So if anything, you know better than anybody else. Present your data as a storytelling, answer the question with integrity, explain effectively, and also defend your finding with facts and data supported by the background reading. And accept the flaws. If there's any flaws, accept it. Say that in future it can be done, or say that, oh, I made a mistake. Just come clean and defend your stage. So yeah, this is the slide just to terrify you. This is you, the PhD student, and you are going towards PhD. And throughout the way, there will be scientists waiting to ask questions, whistleblowers looking for your research and find flaws. And being a research integrity person, being an ethical person, you can avoid all these things as well. However, in the thesis defense, you need to face at least one of them. So you need to be thorough about your PhD. So that is more or less bringing us to our next step. I hope that my first part, I will only take another 10 or 15 minutes of your time. Then I thought, okay, let me explain about the research integrity, ethical integrity, ethical conduct, ethical dilemma. We all studied that. Remember, the term itself, ethics, is coincided with several other terms. The best thing for you to understand about research integrity and research ethics, please visit whenever you have time the European Network of Academic Integrity, especially the glossary section, and then all those information are there. It's free. Please read that. So now then I thought, okay, many of them are from my conversation with Salim. I came to know that many of you are either teachers or teaching assistants in the university or secondary school. One of the things that always hurting me, and I wanted to address it before I die, is the fact that how can we teach ethical behavior in schools, especially in the secondary school? Because most of the time, the secondary schools curriculum is designed by the government. And most of the governments, the only thing they ignore a subject on ethics. They got science, maths, biology, chemistry, applied mathematics, pure mathematics, all sort of sociology, psychology, all sort of different subjects, but none of the subject is specific to ethics. It may not be true in Turkey, but many of the countries are the same. So ask yourself, if you are teaching the student, ask yourself, is it possible to incorporate ethics into teaching? I have asked that question, especially to secondary school. Does the national curricula for secondary education offer ethical training? The answer is no, as far as I am concerned. How can you as a teacher enhance ethical conduct via classroom activities? And then, is this possible? I got further questions for you as well. Can we teach ethical behavior at school? Does your school provide an ethical code? Is there any ethical code in your school? If not, what is the next available ethical code? I mean, one of our catchment area within our university area, there was one school contacted us. There's ethical things we wanted to involve. Because we don't have any ethical code, can we use your ethical code? And then we had a discussion, and then we tried to help them to do that. Or you can contact European Network of Academic Integrity as well, either myself or Salim as well. And if there is an ethical code, as teachers, do you abide by it? First of all, you should be an ethical person before you teach about ethics. So think about that as well. Do you have any provision to offer classroom activities? Especially in UK, there is a subject called key skills. So I think it's offered in the A level, advanced level students. It's called key skill. That means you in that subject area, it is not assessed as assessment, but there the students learn about how to behave, how to study in university, how to do Excel analysis, or how to do Microsoft Word, PowerPoint presentation. Why not use that if you have? I mean, I don't know in Turkey whether you have got something similar to a subject called key skill. Why not use that key skills to incorporate ethical education? And then in the rest of my 5 or 10 minutes, and if the videos are working, I'm going to show you some YouTube video. These are not my videos produced by somebody else. These are only 1 minute or 2 minutes clip. Remember, do not use more than 2 minutes clips. Put those clips, show to the students, and ask for questions. I got about 4 clips. But depending on how interested you are, or depending on how tired you are, we will do all 4 of them, but at least we'll do 1 of them if the videos are working. So let's hope it's working. So I wanted you to watch this video, and then I will ask the question, and I wanted you to do the same thing with your students and see their response. So you're indirectly teaching about the ethical behavior.
Shiva, to your knowledge, I already shared the link.
Friends who had a falling out that lead to cyberbullying, which puts their teacher in.
Yeah, sorry, it's going on.
Use the questions in this discussion post as a guide as you watch. Morgan and Jesse were teasing each other at lunchtime. Their teacher heard the exchange and quickly separated the students, shut down the behavior, sent them separately to the office, and wrote a report. Rather than continue the teasing at school, Morgan starts an open Facebook group to continue teasing Jesse online. At home, Jesse tells their parents.
Shiva, do you hear me? Shiva, we don't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We hear you now. I just received some warning from Özgür that sound is not available, and there is a problem with the video on YouTube. So I guess we will.
Right. I mean, we got the link anyway.
Hocam, if we can click on and watch it.
Yes, you can click on and watch it. And then if you need any help, because I thought I will ask the question as well. So if you need any help of asking the questions for the students, send me an email or contact Salim. We will show it.
Okay, I already shared the links for each video. I guess there were 5 videos. So I already shared the links for these 5 videos. But anyway, if you have any overall comment on these videos, please will you share it with our students. And I'd like to acknowledge one more thing before we move to the videos. You referred to what happens in UK at secondary school related to promotion of academic integrity. Indeed, in the curriculum of Ministry of Education for K-12 schools, we have something that we can translate as values education. Under this course, under values education course, it is expected to promote academic integrity. Of course, Ministry of Education is not calling it academic integrity, but we believe that it is possible to mention academic integrity, promote academic integrity by means of this course. And my PhD student Özgür Çelik, who is moderating YouTube session right now, is working on developing policies for Ministry of Education. This is for pre-university students. I mean, The problem is usually we give importance to promoting academic integrity when students start university. However, this is a problem because students already develop some habits, and they already practice these habits throughout their K-12 education. So it might be too late to try to educate them to promote academic integrity when they enter the university. So we will try to focus on promoting academic integrity before university. Thank you.
Yeah, so what I do is I'll go to the next slide and I'll explain to you about what is the situation, then you can watch it later. That's easy. So in the first slide, the slide before, what we did, what the dilemma is that there is two students, they are just fighting with each other, but one student went far away, set up a Facebook page and started talking about her, most of the time hurting her. And you can ask the question that what are the ethics behind it? So you need to tell them that, it's more or less is considered as bullying. So cyberbullying, and the teacher should have, instead of stopping them, okay, both of you go separate way, they should have, she should have sat down with them and then explain to them, try to find out the problem and try to give a resolution as well. The second video, again, I'm not going to show you that these are all new teachers in school, and this teacher is very popular. The teacher, the lady in pink overall, is very popular in the class, and because of that, she more or less included her students into her social networking. So most of the students can see her Facebook and other stuff because she maintained that friendly environment. But the problem is that then all of a sudden she started taking drugs or behaving like that, and then she is posting that sentences or photographs about her relating to the drug taking. But the problem is that the students can see those posts. So again, you can ask the question, what is the problem with the teacher? And to be honest, if you ask me, that in the social networking, you do not accept your current students in your Facebook. And even if you accept, then you need to be very careful. Do not post your personal matters. And also, I mean, if your students are there, then you cannot even use anything inappropriate for only for over 18. Because yes, you can call, though, this is my Facebook, I can do whatever you can. No, ethically that is wrong because your students are watching you. And probably that's the reason that if you go to my Facebook, then my name is not even there. I am going as a different name. I'm not hiding things, but I'm going in a different name, and I do not accept any of my students into my, and I always separate my university. So anything with my university logo, I won't post into my Facebook because, that is university. So think about that as well. And if you go, the next video is that this is the lady in green is a head teacher, and the other man is a very good lecturer. He's very popular with the students, but he started with an affair with his one of his pupils' mother. I'm not saying that's wrong, but the wrong is that if that is the case, then the worst or the least he can do is he should not be the teacher of that pupil. And you can discuss about the ethical dilemma about that with them as well. The other one is, this is again similar to the one, this teacher is, because this girl, small girl is studying really hard, the teacher is helping, with her difficulties. So they started emailing each other, they are chatting each other, but that chat turns into, over time, that chat turns into personal details, asking about their parents, asking about her life and things like that. That become more inquisitive and inclusive. So again, remember that so girl is underage, and then it should be professional relationship, not the relationship. Although no harm is done, there's nothing to say that the teacher is abusing her, but that kind of activity is not considered as ethics. The next one is about the coach, the Afro-Caribbean person here is the coach, and the Caucasian person here on my right, or on your right, is the cricketer. And then they become friendly, and they got a professional relationship. But all of a sudden, he started the student or the trainee, the cricketer, started asking questions about the relationship he has with his girlfriend, and about his personal life, love making, and expiring. So again, you need to tell them that these kind of things are unethical. Again, have a look at it. So with that, I can stop my presentation. I would like to thank one of my colleagues who work. I closely work with him on medical ethics, Professor Marco Constantino. He is the professor in medical pharmacology in the University of Serbia. And also you can see, at least you can identify one person there, that is Salim. He is, I mean, you know, we have got both professional as well as friendships. We collaborate, we do research and teach in each other's institutions, so on and so forth. And also, my big thank you goes to all members of the Ethical Advisory Group within the European Network of Academic Integrity. That is where we all started, and it's a interesting and really enjoyable journey. Every year I am learning more, and coming up with more students internationally, and we are improving our, establishing our network, but most importantly, we are upholding the integrity, both ethics, research integrity, as well as academic integrity. As many of you have highlighted, that as far as I am concerned, that academic integrity encompasses the research integrity, because academic integrity, so we all are academic, including the researchers. I'm really sorry that it was a bit long presentation. I do hope that I didn't bore you to death. And now, if you have got any questions, you can ask me. And before that, I just wanted to show you these YouTube channels are available. Again, remember, I need to stress again and again, these YouTube videos are not mine. They are produced by different people. But the beauty of these YouTube people videos is less than 2 minutes. So you can show them and then ask them some questions, make a discussion. Student will love it, because I tried it with our local school as an outreach activity, and they love it. So with that, I will stop, and then I will hand it over to Salim for any questions you can ask, and then I will try to answer it.
Thank you, Shiva. It's very informative session. I'm sure all audience benefited a lot from your presentation. Indeed, this is a specific course for ELT department, English Language Teaching department. However, we would like to address general audience here, general researchers here. So I'm sure any researcher from any field we will find this session informative. I'd like to thank you once again for all your support. I'll be visiting YouTube live session, and I'll check whether we receive any questions there.
Yeah.
I already shared several links both on YouTube and here on Microsoft Teams. So I specifically tried to address the links that I referred and that you referred throughout your presentation. So if the audience want to visit them once again, the links are available here. I see no questions from YouTube, and I'd like to ask our students here if they have any further comments, any closing comments before we leave. Please, we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, you can ask question or you can tell your comments, and if you want to tell that anything you want to tell, whether it is good or bad, you can tell. It's fine. Oh yeah, Hedy J, yeah.
Yes, that's me again. Sorry, I bothered you so much.
No, it's fine. No, I enjoy it.
I wanted to tell you that I enjoyed it very much, and I am very much alive. And I wanted to ask one question that actually, how can I say? I had this question as I read the assigned readings. There was the reference to this issue, but what if it's not intended? What if it's not when you do conduct unintentionally? I mean, for example, you conduct wrong tests during your statistical analysis. Okay, this is not a matter of ethics, but how do we label this issue, and how can we react to this when it's unintentional?
There are two ways to do this, handle this. One is, I mean, if you have regular meetings with the supervisor, this wouldn't have happened because he would have picked it up, or he or she would have picked it up that the statistical analysis was wrong. And on a common sense, if you make some mistake, unintentional mistake, just come clean. Just say, this is what I did, and then apologize and move forward, rather than just hiding it. And again, you know, most of these statistical related or experimental related experiments, they always go wrong. I mean, in science, they always go wrong. And then, as you said, may not be the correct experiment. So you might have to go back and redo with the correct experiment, but you can still say or present the data as if that you made a mistake and this should not have happened. And as long as you come clean, then it's fine. I know that within our team, in our university or otherwise, that there is one person had the same problem because he got a PhD, and in that PhD, a paragraph is at that time when he did the PhD, there's no what you call text matching software or advanced plagiarism detection system, so on and so forth. And then without his knowledge, his PhD, there's a paragraph that's more or less dangerously close to the original. And then he came clean, and then he just put the hand, and then he informed the vice chancellor, and then she accepted it. And then in that thesis, we informed the external examiner who did the exam that this has happened. And then he said to put an addendum, we call it addendum, in the thesis, saying that this paragraph is now removed or changed to the appropriately. So again, as I told you before, we all make mistakes, and as long as we come clean, then it's fine. I hope I answered. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shiva. While I was listening to you today, it just reminded me of our study with Tomas. You know, we have a testing of support tools for plagiarism detection working group, and we hosted Tomas a few weeks ago here. And I'd like to show you samples before we leave here. You see our presentation. This is our presentation at Plagiarism Conference in 2019. And in 2019 conference, as you already know, we are involved in the organization of the conference, and in the organization of the conference, Turnitin, Orkun, and Plexican were acting as gold sponsors, and we were analyzing the systems, including Turnitin, Orkun, and Plexican in our test. So what we did at that time, we informed our audience that we tested these systems and these companies were also included. However, their sponsorship in the organization did not have any impact on our methodology or on our results, because we need to be transparent, clear to our audience. When it came to the publication, we later published this paper in the International Journal of Educational Technology in Higher Education, and we provided such ethics declarations related to competing interests. We mentioned that blah blah companies sponsored the conference. In addition, also, for example, I received Turnitin Global Innovation Award, but all these issues did not have any impact on our methodology, on our results. But anyway, we need to inform our readers about our interaction, our previous interaction with these companies. So I guess this would provide some sample related to conflict of interest that you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation.
Thanks, Salim. Right, so I really enjoyed it, although I was talking all the time. I do hope others enjoyed that as well. Yeah, so thanks for inviting me, Salim. I really appreciate that. And again, as I told you before, that every day we are learning new things. And some of the question, I mean, these are PhD students, they should be intelligent anyway, so their questions are really intelligent and then make me think as well. So thanks for the people who interacted with me. So thank you very much. It was a very nurturing interaction. Thanks for that, Salim. And then I congratulate your students, and then I wish them good luck. And then again, tell them that if they need anything from our part as an European network of academic integrity, we will be there to help anyway.
Okay, thank you, Shiva, for your grateful contribution. We really appreciate it a lot, and hope to meet you in the near future in person somewhere.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I just received a message that the Pfizer COVID vaccine has been approved now, so things are getting better.
Getting better, hopefully getting better soon, 2021. So we are hopeful. And thank you, all students, all colleagues, and all audience joining us from YouTube. Hope to see you next week. Take good care, please. Bye-bye.
Thank you, James.
Bye.